Hello and welcome. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about how I use an external PDA. In my case, it's an LK8000 to make decisions during virtual glider flight, and how this helps, especially during competitions if somebody is aiming to achieve a good cross-country speed. So let's have a look at a couple of fields with data that we can see on the screen right now, to just familiarize yourself a little bit with what's going on. So this number over here represents our current altitude. This is our current speed. So this is how fast we are flying. We also have this setting over here, which is a greedy setting. This is our average climb. Of course, this would be set either automatically by LK based on your average climb rate so far, or you can just set it manually. Other things worth noting is this number over here, which tells us what is the speed of the wind, and this is the direction of the wind. And of course, we also have this arrow over here, which shows us visually what the direction of the wind is. This is very useful because we can see, of course, if the wind is perpendicular to a ridge, there is a pretty good chance that the ridge will work. And just knowing that the speed is the wind speed is 21 kilometers per hour, we can predict that some ridges should work pretty well. So the first thing that I would do is, even before the race starts, so let me just show you for a second what the task, what is the task. So as you can see, just after crossing the start line is here. We're supposed to be flying in this direction, which is well, west southwest, to reach the first standpoint, which is up there. As you can see, with the wind blowing from almost from the south, 163 degrees, we've got quite a few ridges which are perpendicular to the wind. But well, we will get to that a little bit later. Before we get there, well, let's first try to think about a decision that we need to make even before start. So as you can already see, there is a mountain ridge over here to be crossed just after start. So my first worry would be, can I even get across this ridge after I start the task? If not, I'll have to think about something else. I don't know, maybe go around this way or maybe go around that way. I'm not sure yet. So let's have a look how we can use an LK8000 first, see if it's going to be possible to cross this ridge after the start. So with my current altitude of 1,200 meters, we can imagine that this is, let's say, an altitude after we've been released from the tow. And what we can do, so what I would do in this case, I would start climbing to the task start altitude. In this example, a task start is 2,000 meters, so we've got almost 900 meters to climb. And while I'm climbing, I would be monitoring this map, which I can switch to during the flight. And what this map shows is everything that we can see in red. That's a terrain which is above my current altitude. So if I now just simulate climbing, so if I just start, of course, this LK8000 allows us a simulation mode, and that's what we are doing right now. So as I'm climbing, and as you can see, as my altitude increases, now we are passing 1,300 meters. The higher we get, the less red we see on the map, which means we are getting higher and higher above most of the terrain. So if we know that the start altitude is 2,000 meters, as we climb, I'm paying, well, I would normally pay close attention to this ridge, which is just after the start line, to see how high relative to this ridge I'm going to be just after start. Now, if there's no speed limit and I can start pretty much at VNE, as you can see now we are at 2000 meters, and let me just show you something over here. So if I just turn in the direction of the task, I can already see that at about 2000 meters, maybe if I pull up after the start, maybe it will be something like 2050, 2000, maybe 2100 meters. I can see already that over here it should be possible to make a pass. So I already know, I already have a plan for my start. I'm going to start from the corner, go this way like that with that particular wind direction. This ridge should work. I should be able to climb a little bit over here, and then I should be able to make this pass. So that's the first example. Even before the race even started, I already have a plan on how am I going to get through the first ridge. And well, this would be quite difficult to judge if this pass would be possible, well, without using an LK. Of course, I want to mention that everything that I say in this video is just for the purpose of visual gliding. I am in no way trying to give advice to real world glider pilots. Of course, in a virtual world, we can take way more risk. I don't think that anybody should try something like that in the real world, but well, it works quite well in some online races when we are trying to get well, the highest possible average speed. Right. Another thing that I would that we could use LK8000 for is just to plan the initial route from the start line to the first endpoint. So if I fly in the direction of the task, and if we just zoom out a little bit, let's have a look at where do we need to get. Well, we need to get all the way here. That's the first endpoint. And with this particular wind direction, we've got a choice. We can either try to get across these mountains and maybe fly along this valley to get to the point, or we can try to be on the left side and maybe do something like that. So there are two possible strategies here. Well, at least two possible strategies. So in this particular race, I decided to go on the left side, and many people tried the right side, and it turned out that well, the left side was quite better. I was able to get to the first point quicker than people who chose to go on the right side. Well, why and how I was able to make this decision? Because, well, it's pretty simple. If you look at a map like this, well, you can see that first, in order to go right, that requires quite a big detour. So of course we want to stay close to the mountains, because those ridges, we would hope that they will provide us some lift, so we would be able to carry on flying without stopping, without using any thermals. But then if we get to that particular point over here, this high mountains, then to get to the turn point, we pretty much have to fly into the wind, and we need to cross a couple of ridge from the lee side. So I'm pretty sure we would lose some altitude that we well, worked really hard to gain by flying slowly along those ridges. I thought before the race that flying on the left side will not cause me that many problems, because I could see that I've got a nice long, relatively long sections of mountains, like this one over here, which is perpendicular to the wind. So I knew that I should be able to climb quite high here, which will allow me to just I think I went this way, climb on that ridge, which then allowed me to cross here. And another important thing is, I could see on the left side that this nice long ridge, which is quite high, will allow me to arrive to the turn point at relatively high altitude. I didn't think that flying on the left side would allow me to arrive to the turn point that high. So analyzing the map, analyzing the wind direction and the pattern, the topography of the terrain. I elected to go on the left side, pretty much on track without making too much detour, because well, that what makes that what allows cross-country speeds to be higher. The bigger the detour, of course, the lower the average cross-country speed is going to be. So we've already decided. I've already shown you how we can use this general aviation map. So maybe let's assume that we will just carry on flying towards this first turn point. So for example, if we are here, I now, of course, looking at the red map, this is we are way below the terrain. So normally we wouldn't be able to make this pass. But let's just simulate that we've climbed on the previous reach, that we are quite high. We can see that this pass is going to be possible at about 2,200 meters. That we need about 2,200 meters to maybe go like this, to climb on this little ridge and maybe then just jump across and carry on that way. I think that's what I actually did during the flight. Now I don't want to make this video I don't want this video to be very long, so I'm just going to show you another useful tool that the LK8000 allows. So let me just jump very quickly to this pan mode, and I'm just going to position our glider. I'm just going to position our glider over here. Let's say just after this turn point. Okay, so let's just go there, and we are now flying in that direction. I'm just going to go to the next turn point. So we are flying to this next turn point, and right, we are currently at 2,100 meters, flying at Mach 2.0. The key question is, are we going to be able to cross this ridge over here? Because if not, considering that the wind is pretty much parallel to this ridge, it's going to be really difficult to climb. We would have to count on maybe catching a thermal somewhere along this route, but if we are not lucky and we can't catch anything, well, then we would be in big trouble. So to see if I'm going to be able to make this pass, there's another excellent tool in LK8000. I can switch this view over here, and as you can see that currently I am barely going to make well, actually this is if we just look at this, looks like we can cross this, right? That's this mountain over here. So we should be able to cross this plateau even in a straight line, maybe with a little detour around it, but there is absolutely no way that we will be able to cross this ridge over here, because it's over here, right? We are going to arrive way too low. By the way, this line show our predicted path with the current descent rate. So not just with this McGreedy, but at the current descent rate. Okay, so obviously we know that we have to climb. So we could be using this particular screen. There is also a similar one. Let me just show you the next one. This just shows us the same thing, the cross section through the terrain, but this shows us towards the next turn point. So I can see that if I was flying at McGreedy of 0, I would be able to reach the turn point, but the problem is that there are still some mountains in the way. So even at McGreedy 0, we are just not going to be able to make it. At the current McGreedy 2.0, if we wanted to fly at this McGreedy, there is no way we wouldn't even make the turn point. So it's quite obvious, well, we need to climb. The question is, well, how high do we need to climb? How do we judge when we're supposed to leave the thermal and carry on flying? Well, the LK8000, and that's another feature that I wanted to show you. Well, LK8000 has this great feature. So if I just switch to a pan mode, so I just switch map to a pan mode, now I can actually scroll here, and with this very high resolution map, I can kind of search for the lowest point. So I think that this is probably the lowest point. So over here on the bottom, this tells me what is the height of this thing. So I need 1,500 meters to be able to make this pass. Okay, if I wanted to cross somewhere else, okay, let's say if we want to cross here, then we can see it's about 1,600 meters. So let's say we want to travel in pretty much in a straight line, or maybe just the minimum height we want to be able to cross over here. So what I can do is I can insert a location marker at that position. And now if we are, let's say we started climbing over here to be able to reach this, there is this particular screen on the LK8000. Let me show you that. This currently shows if we are reaching a particular point. And as you can see over here, this is my marker. That's what I just inserted. And it just shows me that I am currently minus 475 meters, which means that flying at my current McGreedy 2.0, I am 470 meters too low to make that pass. So normally during the flight, what I would do, well, I would start thermaling. Let's say that somewhere along this this part of the flight, well, we know that we need to climb. Okay, so I would be actively searching for a thermal, maybe going a little bit to the side if I spotted a good cloud there, and I would desperately try to climb. So as I'm climbing, so let's say we will just climb a little bit, but I'm just simulating climbing. We've got now 1,900 meters. Of course, we would be going around, and around, right? That's kind of what happens when you are thermaling. And if I start pointing towards this pass, as you can see, it appears on the screen again. This time I'm only missing 250 meters. So that means that I need again 250 meters. I need about what about 2030 or something meters. Okay, so let's try. So normally I would just carry on climbing until, okay, and let me show this. Okay, so we are climbing, we are still climbing. Let's just okay, until I would see that I am now actually 35 or 39 meters above that particular point. So at this point, I would know that I can carry on flying, because considering that I would have a bit of kinetic energy due to the speed, I should be comfortably able to make that particular pass. So this is another quite useful screen on the LK8000. Well, if I wanted, I could of course try to confirm by looking at this. So as we can see now, I should be comfortably able to, well, actually this screen shows that I'm not really making a pass, but again, the line crosses the mountain, not at the lowest point that I've selected. So that's why looking at this particular screen and seeing that I'm 38 meters above my marker, I know that I should be able to make that pass, flying at this McGreedy. Uh, so so yeah, well, we could also check, again, we could also check the general aviation map, having Nothing red in front of me here gives me hope. Of course, you need to anticipate that this is not the red map is showing the terrain that is currently above your altitude. So obviously, before we reach this mountain pass, we will descend, and normally I would just keep that in mind to make sure that when I get there, I will actually make a pass. So that's right. So let me just have a look if there was another moment during this task when yes, there was. Okay, so let's have a look at one more thing. So I'm going to jump a little bit ahead. So of course, after this particular turn point over here, after this turn point, then we got into trouble quite a bit trying to cross this mountain ridges. Eventually we've succeeded and we were able to get to the other side. So let's say that we are now in this particular position over here. This is the position. Let's okay, and let's say we are currently flying to the next standpoint. Yeah, this standpoint over here, right? Now we should be, let me just have a look, assuming that we've just made this pass. Well, we must have been much higher. I think that I was probably about that high. Okay, probably like 2,500 meters, because, well, I was able to make a pass over here, right? So, being at 2,500 meters now, let's have a look what's ahead of us. So, I am now flying along this ridge, okay, along this ridge towards the next standpoint. This is nicely positioned to the wind, so this ridge should allow me to pretty much keep my altitude. But I can see that after passing this standpoint, okay, in order to get to the finish line, which is all the way up there in Samadan, there, I already have a plan that I'm going to go to the turn point, and well, let me just change the view a little bit so we can see there is this, the numbers are in a way, but there is this valley over here, okay, this mountain pass, and to make this pass, that's quite crucial. Uh, if we can't make this pass, well, we'll get stuck. But if we can make this pass, then we'll just go to the turn point, fly around the mountains, make a pass. It's not worth climbing to go in a straight line because we are so close to the finish line. We don't want to arrive to the finish line too high. So we just want to go to the turn point around here through this valley and then flying this Samadan valley get to the finish line. Okay, but the key thing is, well, are we going to make this pass there? So again, I can switch to my red map and I can see already, even before I've reached this turn point, I can see that I'm currently at 2000, about 2400 meters. So I know that if I stay at this altitude, this whole thing, well, I don't see any red color there, so I should be able to make that pass. So when I was flying, my whole focus at this stage was to keep my altitude, to make sure that as I go, if I have to cross a little bit of a valley where there is no lift, probably no ridge lift, probably like this section over here, I would try to go quite fast. But then as soon as I get to the ridges on the other side, I would slow down, trying to make sure that I keep my 2,400 meters in order not to get stuck over here. So planning in advance is very important during an online race, and a tool like this, an LK8000, well, helps a lot with decision making. Definitely helps to decide how fast you should fly in a particular section of the task, and of course allows you to predict possible places where you can get stuck. And well, if you can see a very risky spot like this, then you can take actions way before reaching that point, and either stop maybe even in a weaker climb that you wouldn't normally stop, or maybe even deviate, try to go to one side or the other, looking for some ridge lift. Um, but yeah, I personally cannot imagine flying in the mountains with just default Condor PDA. I hope this again, this was just a quick video to show you just a couple of things that the LK8000 allows you to do. So once again, things like checking how high the mountains are, especially if you've got a pass straight after, let's say, the start line. Then, if you are really at the crucial moment of the task where there is a mountain pass and you're a little bit too low, you're thinking about how high you should climb, then setting a marker and using this particular screen is very useful as well, because it shows you if you can make the marker or not. And of course, if there is a mountain pass way ahead of you, then you can just use this general aviation map. As you can see now, we can see that this pass started to become red. So notice I dropped below 2,200 meters, and well, if I keep falling, keep losing my altitude, I will not make that pass. So at this time, I would already start thinking about this, and I would know, okay, when I get to this ridge over here, I need to slow down. I need to climb because I need to be at 2,200 meters to make the pass. So I think that this is going to be it for this short video on how to use an LK8000 during a flight, especially in the mountains. Well, if you've got any questions or suggestions about what else would you like to see in terms of using a software like this, well, please let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.